Have you ever wondered what's really going on inside your body when you smoke weed? We've all heard the stereotypes, the lazy stoner on the couch, the uncontrollable giggles, the sudden urge to eat everything in the fridge. But what if I told you that the reality is a complex, fascinating dance of chemistry and biology, a process far more intricate than just getting high? Today, we're diving deep into the science of what happens to your brain and body the moment you light up. From the initial rush to the long-term effects, we'll peel back the layers on one of the most talked about plants in the world. Get ready to explore the hidden truths about marijuana and its surprising impact on the human body. The moment smoke from a joint hits your lungs, a lightning-fast process begins. It's a common misconception that THC, the psychoactive compound in marijuana, just randomly floods your brain. The reality is far more targeted and elegant. THC molecules are incredibly small and fat-soluble, which allows them to pass from your lungs directly into your bloodstream and then cross the blood-brain barrier with astonishing speed, often in a matter of seconds. Once inside the brain, they don't just float around. They seek out and bind with specific receptors known as cannabinoid receptors. These receptors are part of the endocannabinoid system, a biological network that plays a crucial role in regulating everything from mood and memory to pain and appetite. The surprising fact is that your body already produces its own cannabis-like chemicals called endocannabinoids, which these receptors are designed for. THC essentially hijacks this system, mimicking your body's natural signaling molecules and amplifying their effects. This is the very reason you feel high. It's not a foreign substance creating a new sensation, but rather an outside molecule supercharging an ancient, inbuilt system that already exists to maintain balance within your body. Think of it like a master key that fits a lock your body already uses. This key, however, turns the lock with much more force, leading to the euphoric and sometimes disorienting effects we associate with smoking marijuana. The immediate rush of THC can cause a temporary height rate and a feeling of warmth, often within the first minute or two. This is your body's initial, surprised reaction to the sudden flood of a powerful neuromodulator, a signal to your brain that something significant has just happened. Beyond the initial euphoria, one of the most immediate and well-known effects of marijuana is its impact on our senses and perception. It's a widely held belief that marijuana simply slows you down, but the truth is more nuanced. THC's interaction with the brain can actually lead to an increased sensitivity to sensory input. Colors might seem brighter, music might sound more profound, and textures might feel different. This phenomenon is a direct result of THC's influence on the brain's sensory processing centers, particularly in the temporal and parietal lobes. A fascinating fact is that this heightened sensory experience is also tied to the drug's effect on short-term memory. THC interferes with the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for forming new memories. This is why it can be difficult to remember what you were just talking about, a classic stoner moment. But here's the kicker. This memory interference isn't a simple shutdown. It's thought to be a result of THC suppressing the long-term potentiation of synapses, the very process by which memories are physically encoded in your brain. So, while you're experiencing a vivid present, your brain is having trouble writing that experience down for later recall. The connection here is a double-edged sword. The drug can make you feel more present and connected to your immediate surroundings, but at the cost of being able to form a cohesive chronological narrative of what's happening. Have you ever felt like you're in a movie, but you can't remember the last scene? That's the THC at work, painting a picture in vivid detail, but skipping the record button. Let's talk about the infamous munchies. The common explanation is that THC makes everything taste better, and while that's part of it, the scientific reality is much more complex and surprising. The myth is that it's purely a psychological effect. You just get hungry because you're relaxed. The reality is that THC actively rewires your brain's hunger signals. THC molecules bind to receptors in the hypothalamus, the brain region that regulates appetite and metabolism. This binding sends a powerful signal to the body that you are starving, even if you just ate. But here's the truly mind-blowing fact. THC has also been shown to increase your sense of smell, making food aromas more potent and appealing. It does this by directly affecting the olfactory bulb, the part of the brain responsible for processing scents. So the munchies aren't just a whim. They're a carefully orchestrated physiological response involving both a false hunger signal and a heightened sense of smell. The connection to real life is clear. For millions of people, this effect can be a lifesaver. Patients undergoing chemotherapy often struggle with the lack of appetite and nausea. For them, the munchies can be a crucial medical benefit, helping them consume the nutrients they need to recover. So, next time you see someone tearing into a bag of Doritos after smoking, remember it's not just a cliche, it's a fascinating display of neurobiology in action. But what about the other side of the coin? The mental effects that are far more subtle and long-lasting. While the immediate effects are often what people focus on, the long-term impact of frequent marijuana use is where the most significant changes occur, particularly in the developing brain. It's a common belief that cannabis is harmless, but for young people, the truth is more complicated. The myth is that it can't be addictive, but the reality is that regular heavy marijuana use can lead to a condition known as cannabis use disorder. A surprising fact from the National Institute on Drug Abuse is that nearly 30% of marijuana users may have some degree of this disorder. This isn't just a matter of willpower. It's a biological change where the brain becomes dependent on the constant presence of THC. This dependence is linked to the brain's dopamine reward system. With prolonged use, the brain can produce less of its own dopamine, the good feel chemical, creating a state where the individual needs marijuana just to feel normal. This can lead to a state of anhedonia, or the inability to feel pleasure from previously enjoyed activities. The connection here is stark. A substance that starts out as a source of pleasure can, over time, rewire the brain to require it just to feel okay. It could also impact cognitive function, especially in adolescents whose brains are still developing. Studies have shown a potential link between heavy adolescent marijuana use and a decline in IQ points later in life. This isn't about scaring you, but about understanding the full picture, the complex trade-offs between a short-term altered state and the long-term changes that can occur within our most vital organ. So, what fact blew your mind the most? Was it the way THC hijacks your body's natural system, or the surprising science behind the munchies? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden truths behind everyday life, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a deep dive into the weird and wonderful world of science. From the lightning-fast rush of THC to the profound changes it can make to our brains over time, the story of what happens when you smoke marijuana is anything but simple. It's a tale of mimicry and hijacking, of heightened senses and a disrupted sense of time. We've learned that the high isn't a simple drug effect, but a complex interaction with our body's own ancient communication system. We've debunked the simple idea of the munchies and revealed the powerful science of hunger signals. And we've seen how a plant that can provide medical benefits can also carry risks, especially for developing minds. The next time you encounter a discussion about marijuana, you'll be armed with the real science, not just the stereotypes. It's a powerful reminder that the most fascinating things in the world are often those we think we know best.